Oh snap, I'm live. Where's my music? Uh, uh. Tuesday night live. Coming out from the hive mind. Meditation, destination, relaxation on your vacation from your life, your normal day. Gonna evaporate into nothing. Peaceful, like a button. Good evening, everybody. How y'all doing? Tuesday night live in the house. I'm gonna set up my phone so I can see what's going on. Yeah. Let me know who's watching. Tell me your name, where you're watching from. Get some action in there.
How's that? That's perfect. Oh, yeah. Then Tuesday Night Live. It's out of control. It's always something, you know. That's why people watch, is because you never know what to expect. Send some love. Tell me where you're at, where you're watching from, who's there. And specifically, if you guys have any questions, any themes, anything you'd like me to talk about. This is Seth Monk coming to you live from Woodland Hills, just north of Los Angeles. Thank you, Jess. For those of you that don't know, myself and a small group went to India in April, and I bought a pair of these flags for everybody that came on the trip in Dharamsala. What's up, Candace? Representing BC, Canada. I'm glad that you liked that video that I made earlier. Hello, Robin Johnson. Kathleen Hubbard, what's up? So good to see you recently. Sue is in the house. Got to see Sue at Dragonfly. So cool. I had this amazing trip back east to my homeland of Massachusetts, where I got to see everybody again and do some really beautiful healing work, including leading a healers training. Got to train, teach, share with other people how to be healers. One of my favorite things to do. Looking forward to doing more of that. Let's see what different kinds of lighting we can do. Ooh, we could do the blue. I like that one. That's nice. Yeah. Tessa is in Middle America in Nebraska. How you doing, Tessa? Anita, so great to meet you too. Welcome to my live. Hi, Maureen. Becca from Lowell. How was India? Asked Candace. Well, that is a big question. India was a lot of different things. India is a lot of different things. It is a rich tapestry of experiences, that India. We were up in the mountains in the Himalayas, really beautiful, really peaceful, kind of like spectacular and awe-inspiring. And then it kind of became more and more busy as we ventured down into some other parts of India. And by the end of the trip, we were all just ready to go home. But we did get to hang out with the Dalai Lama, which was really cool. Ooh, Okaloosa Island, Florida. Dude, that's even a fun name to say, Okaloosa. I'm in Okaloosa. All right, friends. What would you love to hear about this evening? The way that these chats normally work is you provide the context, I don't know, impulses, there it is. So maybe all people who are watching right now, no pressure, is you could just write a little sentence about something you'd love to hear about, love for me to talk about, maybe even a word, maybe even a question specifically from your life. Tessa's healing disease, spelled really cool. Dis-ease. I kind of just want to dance the whole time. This music's really getting to me. All right, forget the teaching. No meditation. We're just going to dance for an hour. Also a question. Pain management, sciatica. I just freaking had that. I just had that. It was horrible. I had to stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch. All right, Candace. Most important advice: how to navigate the everything, everywhere, all at once energy we are being faced with the bombardment. Yeah. For those of you that did not see my video on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, I posted it. Check that video out. It's really cool. I would say that I really poured a lot into that one. Jessica, how do you rapidly shift your mindset when you know where you need to be blinded by own undoings? Okay, we got some good stuff to work with. So yeah, let me start with recapping that video. For those of you that didn't get a chance to see it, I'm going to just give you a little bit of info. So I was on the airplane. I think this is how it happened. I'm going to just create the story. Why not? I was on the airplane and I was journaling. I had my laptop out. And I believe my journal entry I actually could read the actual journal entry if you want from the video. It starts with, hold on, I'm going to open up all these files and lose you. Okay, here we go. I think the thing I love about this is that this is my own thing and I can just do whatever the fuck I want. So this is this is my actual entry. That was the basis of that video. I typed this on the airplane. And it begins with, like, honestly, what the fuck? How are we supposed to do this? To survive, to manage, to thrive, to deal with our body and health and exercise and sleep and sickness and all the fucking unexpected shit that happens to the body too. And disease and genetics and toxins and whatever else, all the fuck. You could see I was really going for the curse words in this. And then how to deal with our feelings, the tangled mess of emotions that come out of nowhere and relate to somewhere and urge to be acknowledged and never really get fully resolved. The relentless, the ceaseless thinking of the mind, the words and stories and judgments and views and narratives, the beliefs and expectations and this or that and good and bad and want and don't and right and wrong and how-tos. And then there's how all of that relates to others, to another, how to relate and to process and to feel and to deal and to communicate, how to represent myself in a world which is already a shit show and then somehow care for and support and understand anything or anyone else. All of their feelings, thoughts, stories, expectations, wants, needs, and whatever. And everything else that they're fucking going through. And then I'm supposed to work and have relations to coworkers and to focus and do a good job and be productive and make money and drive the fuck back and forth and all that. And somewhere have time to read and learn and grow and understand things and then fucking have fun. What? Where? When? And then there's this planet and this society and this country and this reality and all the spiritual dimension too. The eyes, ears, nose, mouth, nose, head, shoulders, fucking knees and toes, and the heart and the mind. All of this enormous internal ecosystem and this enormous external ecosystem, all sacred geometry fractals. And so it goes on in infinity in all directions, as big or as small as you want to go forever. So what the fuck? Where does it end if there's no fucking end? Just keep struggling until you die? Just keep endlessly exploring the vast reaches of consciousness and reality only to have it come to the same conclusion? Life's a video game and you've wandered all over the entire map and there's nothing new, nowhere to go. So what to do and what's worth doing? Now what? Learn as much as I can until I die, chase pleasure as much as I can until I die, heal and help people as much as I can until I die, somehow serve this world and create something that lives beyond me, be part of evolution. They all sound like fucking shitty conclusions if you ask me, but maybe I'm not accepting it. Do we bring God to earth? Do we bring earth to God? Do we disassociate and curl up into a ball and pretend it's all not happening? Life is pointless unless connected to something bigger than oneself, some purpose, some reason for keeping it going. Even if money didn't exist, these questions would still be here. Maybe sitting peacefully in the woods, I'd find some answers. But I'm pretty sure the answer is not out there. I would have heard it by now. Maybe there is no answer, and I just need to find my own. I'm probably not going to be the guy who breaks the matrix and figures out the solution to all of humanity. But maybe I'm not supposed to be, and I don't need to be. Maybe I just need to find my answers. Boom. Thank you for listening to that. So I had this moment where I was just, met with the complexity of the human situation. I was met with the fact that there's all of these different arenas of reality, that there's the body, that there's the mind, the thinking mind, that there's the feelings, that there's just such a crazy internal world. If anyone's ever been on a meditation retreat and you've just had to sit with yourself in a room that was just white and there's nothing to even look at, just yourself, just the content. I know people that even do dark retreats, and just sitting by yourself in a completely black room, being with your own mind is enough content to just take up that entire experience. And yet here we are having all that internal experience while also needing to relate to an outside world, to have these constant sensory perceptions hitting us. And then we have other people that we need to relate to. And then we have things we need to do in the world, right? And just so how crazy, overwhelming that can be. And how we just kind of take that for granted. Nobody's really talking about that, the entirety of the human situation and what's expected, as Candace keeps saying, everything everywhere all at once. It's totally like that. It's just, you could send the mind into the consciousness in any direction and investigate deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and smaller and smaller and smaller. And even having to talk to you guys. And so, and what to do, but even before the what to do, even first, just acknowledging that situation, just acknowledging what life is, acknowledging where we are, what we have to deal with. It's for whatever reason, something that I don't usually hear people talk about, just the entirety of this human situation and also how challenging it is. And as I really started diving deeper into that and seeing it more and more clearly, what started coming up for me was just, how can we ever be mad at anyone? How can we not at all times have total fucking compassion for every other human being, understanding that everyone else is in the same craziness that we are? And like I said, it's this sacred geometry fractal thing. It's actually psychedelic. That reality is psychedelic in nature, that you could really just take any piece of any situation and hone in on that and hone in. It's almost like right now I have my eyes and my nose, and my mouth and my ears and my body, right? And then I have my mind. I have all these sensory organs. And I could just choose one of all those sensory organs, just choosing the eyes, right? And then just out of everything I see in my vision, I could just choose the screen. And then just out of the screen, I just choose this yellow prayer flag, right? And just out of that flag, I choose that one dot. And inside that dot, there's like one little word. And inside that, there's one little meaning. And then you go even deeper and there's like a thread. And you can just keep going, going, going. And in that thread's like a bunch of molecules. And that's like, the atom. And then that is the electrons. And then that's the quark. And then that's the, right? And you could just keep going forever down this corridor of things just getting more and more and more quantum, if you will. And that's just one thing. That's just your eyesight, right? That's just this one thing I see now. I look this way and I see a whole nother bunch of things, right? And then we have everything I'm hearing and smelling and tasting and everything I'm feeling, and every square millimeter of my skin is feeling something different. I could spend an entire lifetime just feeling around the body, just sending my awareness to every little square millimeter of my body and feeling what that millimeter is feeling. And that would already be an exploration that would take forever. And then we have this whole thing happening inside too, the whole mental and emotional thing, right? And any single piece of that you could go into and into and into and into, right? Any feeling you could just break apart more and get more story and go deeper and deeper. Right. So it's this psychedelic fractal thing that we're in. And yet we're kind of like within the middle of it. And we're Candace actually said it nice in the comments of my video. She's like, we're functioning, somehow functioning in this dysfunction. And it's true that there is some relative sense of coherence. There's some relative sense of like congruence. There's some relative sense of being here, and it's okay. And to be honest, like when I'm out, I was just out hiking all morning today, and when I'm out walking in nature, there's no problems at all. And even all of that I just said, that's just thoughts, right? That's just a thinking mind. Going into that perspective, that view, that understanding, things could be also as complicated as I just made them. Really seeing the extreme of complication. We could also go in exactly the other direction and say everything is just one, right? Some people say everything is God, everything is love. So what is the point of all of that? I think just to acknowledge the situation that we're in is, for me, always super important. And then once we acknowledge that and really see that clearly, then we can say, okay, now what do we want to do with that? And for me, the direct next natural thing was this feeling of acceptance and compassion and grace towards myself for everything that I'm going through all the time. And then also for others, for just, how can I ever really be in an argument with or upset with other people, knowing that they're in this same thing that I'm in, that's just so much, just so much. So thank you for listening to my TED Talk. So to the question of how to navigate that, I think the answer is that we are navigating that we are already navigating that we are simply choosing what to focus on. We are choosing the pieces of that are relevant to us. We're choosing the pieces of that we want to work with. Again, at any given moment, right now, you actually can see, is that 180, right? Right now you have actually like 180 vision. You could see from side to side and then this whole field in front of you. But you're focusing that just on the screen. And then within the screen, you're just focusing that probably like on my face, right? Or even my eyes or something, or my hands, right? So we're choosing in each moment, what is the most relevant focus point? What is the most relevant thing to bring the mind on? And this is also the brilliance of the mind. Same with meditation, is that when you're breathing and you're feeling the breath, the mind completely just kind of collapses to the point where everything dissolves and there's just the feeling of breath. That the mind has this amazing ability to tune out everything that you're deciding is not relevant. And that's kind of how it works, is that we tune out everything that we deem not relevant in every single moment and focus on the things that are relevant to keep progressing forwards, which also gets kind of crazy when you think about it, because it's like, fuck, how much information am I missing? And then how much is my entire experience of reality programmed by my past, programmed by my conditioned way of receiving and perceiving information? Why do I choose one thing to be relevant and some other thing not to be relevant? That can also be programmed by my traumas. That can be programmed by my parents. That can be programmed by society. When I started doing energy work and spiritual work, and even as a kid, when I would experience ghosts and stuff, nobody around me knew about that stuff. Nobody was talking about it. Nobody was experiencing it. And I was like, how is there this whole other aspect of reality that I'm experiencing very clearly, but nobody else is? And it's not like socially accepted. Like in US, like it was not like ghosts were not, you know, known to be real. And I guess they're still not for a lot of people. You know, once we decide that something's not real, we tune it out. We don't even allow it, which is why I sometimes say that, it's not always seeing is believing. Sometimes it's believing is seeing. Sometimes we actually have to reopen up our mind and allow ourselves to perceive all of the information that's possible and be like, wow, maybe there's actually information right here that I'm not perceiving because I had previously already decided that it's not there. Right? There's a lot of people in relationships and like they kind of blow through like red flags, right? Because they're just like, oh, I'm not gonna, right? We're just choosing not to perceive something. But then it also gets really crazy because there's probably a lot of things in every single moment that you are not perceiving that could be giving you new information, that could actually be creating a new story, that could actually be healing you and helping you and bringing you a lot of happiness and a lot of peace. If we're, in an argument with somebody, we maybe are going to see all the bad things about that person or in that moment or all of our own pain. And we're going to forget about like all the other stuff, that they're a whole person and we're a whole person. We've had a whole relationship and interaction, and there's also good parts and loving parts and happy parts. And that, we let one aspect kind of bully all the other aspects out of existence. So, you know, I guess just acknowledging that, that our realities are quite limited. They're quite limited to our conditioning. As much as we try to get out of that, we're still kind of within that. We're still within our framework of a personality and a being and our relation points and orientations. And we're tuning out a lot of other information. And then the information we are receiving, we are also then putting that together in our own pre-programmed ways, which is crazy. You know, the the amount of construction that we are constantly doing at a rapid speed, we're not even aware of it. We're constructing reality so quickly and then responding to the reality that we're constructing. Just like when you're having a dream and you're constructing a whole dreamscape and you're reacting to the dreamscape in real time as your mind is creating the next part of the movie, you're interacting with the next part of it, right? It's this real time thing, which we are still doing when we wake up. We are still projecting, we are still creating reality and responding to it in real time continuously. This is a beautiful thing in the mind, but this also can be a really damaging thing of the mind, because the dream could be projecting heaven or hell, and we could be responding to it and it'll be very real to us, but it is still just our own mind projecting that out. That is still just what it is focusing on, what information it is deciding to take, how it is choosing to put that information together and translate that information with its past, and then how to respond to that information. Even to be objective, actually, it was on my hike today. I had this thought, and I was like, if I ran for president, like, what would my speech be? And it was kind of interesting. And I was going through all the different themes people talk about, and about like religion and what is it, like pro-life and pro-choice and all the different things, right? And I kind of came to this conclusion. I was like, look, at the end of the day, it's how do we create a society where everybody can choose what they want, what works best for them, and not force their views on other people, you know? And in a weird way, it's kind of paradoxical, because even wanting everyone to have a choice, that's still my view. That's still how I think it should be, right? That's even still justice or whatever, fairness. That's still a view. That's still a perspective. And it kind of goes on forever. Um, I actually completely forget what my point was. Yeah. So, you know, when I was feeling all into this I was just really seeing how difficult it is to put something out there that's like accessible for everybody and that works for everyone and that's completely, I don't know, fair or real. One of the thoughts I actually had was that when we do our taxes, that that at the end of your tax form you have a series of boxes, and one box says like military, one says education, one says like roads or whatever, one says, and there's all the different aspects. And then you get to decide how your tax money is allotted. You get to choose um, the percentages that go to each of those. So we're actually deciding each individual where you want your money to go, your tax money to go. And I thought that could be like a really cool way for us to really engage again in this democracy. And then people would have to there'd be like a debate on stage with a guy from the military and a person from education and a person for like the infrastructure of that, and then they had to like make their cases of why they think that they should deserve that money, like what that arena would benefit from. And I was like, oh, that'd be like a really interesting, it'd be like an engaging, again, it'd be really like this democratic process of like having to figure things out. But tangent, it just kind of came clear that we are living in this world of views and opinions and thoughts, and there's just so much information, and honestly, even without the internet, even without your phone, even without the information age, even if you were just born you know in the South American jungle, in the rainforest with the ayahuasqueros, and you just sat there and interacted with nature, there would still be an endless amount of information. There would still just be an endless amount of information. You could stare at an ant and then stare at just the antenna of the ant, and then just on the hairs at the tip of the antenna, and then just what is the signals and the hairs, and you could just still microscope into anything. That there's just so much information all the time for us to receive. And and I think that this whole thing can shift into something that's empowering for us, because when we realize that we are constructing our reality, that we are deciding on what to focus on, that it is a choice. Somebody once told me that the only freedom we actually have is we get to choose what we focus on. We get to choose our focus. You know, and I think that it's really powerful to, in each moment, realize if you are or are not choosing what you are focusing on, if you're focusing on something for your highest good or not, if the thing that you are choosing to focus on is helping you or hurting you, if it's creating a victimized, disempowering story for you, or if it's charging you up and making you feel energized and alive. We often battle with like what's real and what's not real, but I don't know if any of it's real, to be honest. Like really real. I think that a lot of it is just what we decide is real, what we choose, what perspectives and viewpoints we decide on. So if we can examine that, if we can look more at our reality, and I know this is like a very vague, like this is very broad brushstroke kind of thing to say, but if we look at our lives, if we look at our realities, we could probably find a lot, a lot of different areas in which we're in a lot of pain and a lot of struggle, and we're somehow choosing that. We're somehow creating that reality, responding to a reality that we ourselves are creating by what we're focusing on, which pieces we're taking, and then what's the story that we're putting together? What narrative are we creating with those pieces? And this is something for everyone to look at. I mean, this is like what a life coach does. This is like what a spiritual coach does. If you want to work with me one-on-one, this is what I guide people through, right? That it's really starting to pull that stuff apart and really see like what is the reality behind that, and is it serving you or not, and can we create a better story, a more empowering story, a better understanding, something that's at least a little more accurate, or at least a little less biased in an intense way based on our past. So that was a unplanned 30-minute rant. See, like half the people dropped off the video. Cool. Thank you, Candace. You've been a great cheerleader this call. I appreciate it. Cool. So with all of that said, I'm just reading through some of the comments to see if there's anything else I want to touch upon. Send me, give me some comments. What did you hear and all that? I rambled a bit. What did you get from that? What did you hear from that? Did that give you any answers? Or did that arise more questions? Or what's kind of your summary? Let me just really quickly hear from that. And if you're watching this on replay, feel free to also just write that in. I read all the things. But yeah, just like what was all of that for you? You know, how do you unpack and process that whole information? Because I saw some of you also wrote questions. I'm curious if some of your questions were already actually answered. Can I repeat? So it all started. I was born on a Thursday. All right. Got a lot of clowns in my crew. All right, Jess. Well, I'm going to read your question. How do you rapidly shift your mindset when you know where you need to be, but are blindsided by your own undoings? How do you rapidly shift your mindset when you know where you need to be? I mean, I would have to ask you what those undoings are. In which way are we sabotaging ourselves? April, just joining now, but looks like you're in time to meditate. Yeah, don't listen to anything I said. Just skip ahead. If you watch the repeat, just skip ahead to 32 minutes and forget all that other stuff. Not important. Emotionally, mentally sabotaging. Well, sabotaging, I think, can be a pretty charged word. And I think that when we talk about sabotaging, it could be, I just went through the whole fractal universe. I think when we talk about sabotaging could actually be, I think it's actually always the same thing, but I'll talk about it in a couple ways. One way is that it's fear, is that it's our own fear. Our fear of failure, our fear of trying something new, our fear of stepping out of our comfort zone, our fear of the unknown, our fear of having to grow, our fear of being overwhelmed, our fear of failure, our fear of whatever, right? But I would say that that all comes down to one thing, actually, and that is that our sense of reality is being challenged. Our limited sense of reality is being challenged. If I think that I am this big, I'm not going to let myself be bigger. If I think that I can only do these things, I'm not going to let myself do other things. There's the story I heard about, like, they would tie like a baby elephant to a little palm tree, and it would try to get away and it couldn't. And then over the years, it just gets trained that this tree holds this rope. Eventually that elephant gets huge and it could rip out that tree easily if it wanted to, but it doesn't even try to run away because it's programmed into the elephant's mind that that tree is like keeping it in place, and it's like its anchor. I don't actually know if that story is true. I just heard this when I was in India. But the thought that that elephant has is that, like, I this thing is stronger than I am, and I cannot move, and I cannot break free from it. It creates this conditioned reality that then the elephant doesn't fight against. Even if you said the elephant, "All right, let's go," it'd be like, "But I can. Look, I'm trying," but and it wouldn't actually try because there's a part of it that its reality says this is impossible. I can't. It challenges our sense of who we are. If you're standing on a tree branch, you can't saw off the tree branch that you're standing on because it's going to feel like you're going to die and the whole thing's going to collapse. So sometimes when we're about to expand past who we think we are, we sabotage because it's terrifying, because it would challenge our sense of reality. And there's some part of us that feels like it's going to die and it's going to fall apart and we're going to be lost forever. Right. And that is terrifying, 100%. And so when we're in those moments, what I enjoy doing is I enjoy connecting to what it's going to feel like on the other end of it, connecting to the positive, the pleasure, the good feeling, what it is going to feel like to be on that other side. And once we start connecting to those feelings and imagining it and letting the energy flow, they say when you chop a board of wood, you don't aim for the woods, you aim through the wood, right? The karate guys, whoosh, they aim to the ground, and that's how they break through it. If they aim at the board, they'd hit their hand on it. But if they aim through the board, that's how you break it. And so it's creating that mindset where you're with positive energy, connecting to what's on the other side of that. And visualizations can help with that as well, right? And it allows kind of like this flow of energy and this connection to the goal and to the place that you want to be, because you feel like you're already there and it feels so good to be there. It's like you're already challenging that system and reinforcing growth. You're reinforcing change. You're reinforcing shift. So I would say that if you feel like you're self-sabotaging, practice visualizations and feeling what it's going to feel like to be on the other end of that change, to be what it's going to be when you get to that place. And it's just going to start to pull you over there and it's going to feel really easy and natural. And it's like reprogramming your subconscious mind as well, right? It's reprogramming yourself to associate that change with pleasure, with happiness, with a great feeling versus like the fear or whatever. That would be my advice. All right, let's meditate or something. All right, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and see if you can feel the energy that I am going to start channeling through the screen. Deep breath. As we relax the body, we connect to the space around the body, the field of energy around us. If we follow the fractal nature of reality, if we take our sense of self and we travel from gross to subtle, from the body to the thoughts, to the feelings, to the perceptions, to the awareness itself, to the light of awareness, to the space, you eventually hit the oneness. Connecting to the feeling, to the perception of oneness. It's like the wave connecting to the vastness of the ocean, of which it is also a part. Feeling the space around you, letting the mind expand beyond the body. Imagining there is no screen between us. Me and you are sitting together in the room. All of us are in the room together. And above us is just this giant glowing ball of peaceful energy radiating like a sun. Deep breath. Imagining that this energy is just coating your entire body, covering you, dripping down you, going inside of you. Just this energy of peacefulness, this cleansing energy, just cleansing you. Safe, healed, whole, just oozing over any emotional wounds, any psychic wounds, any physical wounds. Completely detaching you from any cords, any beings, entities, psychic attacks, energies, karmas from the outside, environmental concerns, just other people's spells that have been casted upon us, or those that we cast upon ourselves. Just any vibrations that do not serve us, just letting this energy dispel everything out of our system, just bringing us back into that sense of peacefulness, of wholeness, of groundedness. And as you breathe, just imagining this energy is entering through the crown of your head, just traveling down, immersing your brain, going down your spinal cord, down your spine, through your nerves, out your hands to your fingers, into your lungs, your chest, your heart, to your ribs and your belly, and the organs, your liver, kidneys, gallbladder, intestines. Just moving down into your hips, into your reproductive organs. For women, filling up your womb. For men, in the prostate. Bringing healing, bringing clearing, bringing cleansing, bringing wholeness. Bringing peace, bringing reconnection down the knees, the legs, knees, thighs, to the shins, the back of the legs, to the ankles, your feet, toes, bottom of your feet, toenails, whole body just covered. And from your body down into the earth beneath you, down to other parts of your expression, your energetic expression that also connect down into the earth itself. And letting this energy just kind of flow through you into all dimensions, all fractals, all parts of your life, all of your relationships, all of your situations and themes. Just sending out healing, sending out peacefulness, sending out wholeness, sending out completion, sending out gratitude. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Just sending peaceful energy into every quadrant of your life, every quadrant of your consciousness across the whole world through time and space, your own past, your own future, any memories that come up, any traumas of yours, just infusing them with this energy now, letting this energy clear, cleanse, soothe, erase, release, letting this move from the highest heights to the deepest depths in every direction, clearing, cleansing. Karaniyamata kusulena yantam santam parambi samecha sakoju chisuju che suvajocha smadruna timani santus koch subroche apkicho salu kavuti santandrio chnipkoche apkabo klesona nugiro nachkuram samachare kinchiena vinu parapavereum sukinova kemino hontu sabisata vavantu sukitata yekichi panabutati tasavata varana sesa digava yemantava Majima raska nuktula dita va yeva dita yechidure santi avrude puta va samvesiva savisata vavanchikitata. Naparo pramniku beta natimani kachinam kanchi biaro sanabitika sanya nanimanis dukamichea matayataniam puta maisaik puta manaraki. Evam pisabute su manasambhavye parimana metanchi sabalo kasmi manasambhavye parimana mudam rochi tirianchi asambharama virama spata. Titan Chirani Sinova Sainova Yavatasavgatamido Etam Stimeditea Brahma Metam Vyara Midamahu. Titan Chena Pagama Silava Dasnena Sampano Kame Suvene Gatam Naijatakabaseam Punaditi. Pavasa Mangaram Rakam Sabadeva Sabuda Sabadama Sangasanga Bhavena Sarasoti Bhavantute. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Taking a deep breath. Allowing everything to ground. Taking a deep breath. Gently stretching out, wiggling your fingers and your toes. And then returning to this physical body. If you want, you can turn off your phone and computer and go to sleep. If you want, you can open your eyes and return. Send me a message. Tell me how that was for you. How you're feeling. Where you're at right now. What that experience was like. I want to give a massive shout out to my friends in Massachusetts and New Hampshire for staying up with me. You guys are at 10:30 p.m. your time. Thank you, Tessa. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Anita. It's really awesome to have this time together to ground and reconnect and refresh. I missed you last week, Donna. I flew all the way across the country to see you. You weren't there. I'm glad that everyone's okay. Feeling connected, beautiful. Yeah, so, this is just us connecting to the energy field. This is the field of energy that is here all the time, that we are a part of. We tend to focus more on things, objects, solids. But there's an entire field of energy, and some would even say that the physical body is a manifestation of that energy field. That it's not that the body creates the energy field, it's that the energy field creates the body. Who knows? But that energy field is always accessible for us. That heading up through the consciousness into the levels of oneness, into levels of peace, is always available for us and is always there. And it's kind of like tuning a radio, just tuning to that frequency and allowing that to come through. Thank you, Melody. Thank you, Kristen. Have a great sleep. Thanks so much for joining. Yeah. So thank you all for joining me on another beautiful Tuesday night. If you feel like you would love to join me in one of my one-on-one virtual containers, let me know. I do a 3-month guidance packages through your heart and your mind and your life. And I'm about to actually start creating some online content that people can start to access aside from this, which I'm excited about. But more on that some other day. For all the meditations you do, you think you'd be further ahead at this point. Well, Jessica, another way to look at it is think about where you would be if you never did these meditations. Just saying. You never know. Yeah. And, there's something to be said about integration, right? That we practice again and again and again. And we settle the mind, then we go into life, and the mind gets stirred up, and then we settle the mind, and we go into life, and it gets stirred up, and this happens on loop again and again until eventually we start to look and ask ourselves, well, why? Why is it getting kicked up again? What am I doing? Why am I doing that? What can I let go of? And that takes its own time. We are deeply conditioned beings. A lot of our worries and anxieties and concerns come from our ancestors. They come from our past lives. They come from places way beyond this. So, we are not in control of the timeline, but we are in control. As one of my teachers said, we can water the plants, but it's going to grow at its own speed. So that is that. Cool. Thank you all so much for joining. It's really great hanging out with you all. This is my favorite time of the week. And look forward to seeing you again soon. Tuesday Night Live. Peace out.